Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Dead Men Plays. My name is Ken Johnson with my new Let's Play as part of a Batman-centric ramp-up you're going to be seeing from me for a good while now, leading towards the release of my book, The Man Who Watched Batman Volume 1, in stores April 15th. Today, we're going to be starting the first of our little Batman-centric journey with LEGO Batman 3 The Season Pass. We're going to be playing each part of the Season Pass with the exception of the LEGO Batman 75th Anniversary, only because I tried playing it, and not only did I have some glitch problems, but also I just didn't find that one too much fun. I know that these are kind of one-level DLC packs, all working their way kind of through, but that one still kind of felt on the weaker side. So we're going to start with a Dark Knight pack, so we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about the book, but also talk a little bit about the Dark Knight trilogy and my thoughts on it, and so on and so forth. One thing you'll also notice too, probably, is that you can see me for once. I actually have a completely new PC rig I just bought with my tax return money, and I'm also got a new webcam you're seeing there as well. And we're trying out some new configurations. This is still a really rough rig. You would not believe the cords and rigging that I had to do to figure this out. As you can see, it almost looks like I got a chin strap here because I'm actually wearing earbud headphones for audio underneath my Turtle Beaches I'm wearing for the microphone, which is kind of inconvenient, but we're working on that. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start out talking a little bit about the book, and then from there we're going to move on to the show.
Then I will begin. My name is Alfred. Let me get you up to speed, son. Rachel, Bruce's ex, has herself a new man. Poor Bruce. I really thought they'd last the distance. I even got myself a new ad. This fella, Harvey Dent's got himself into a right pickle. He's only gone and passed himself off as the Batman. Dent the Batman? He's having a laugh. I mean, he's a big man, but he's out of shape. For Bruce, this is a full-time job. With Harvey Dent setting himself up as Bane, it wasn't long before the Joker made himself known. Blimey, he stands out in the crowd, doesn't he?
So, so the book itself is called The Man Who Watched Batman Volume 1, is a step-by-step, episode-by-episode analysis of the first season of Batman the Animated Series. And as a part of that, this is why we're doing this Let's Play and several other Let's Plays, just showing off various different aspects of Batman for the crazy fun of it. Starting with this one, so there's going to be some links below to some samples of the book, places you can go for further information, and some links to some interviews from podcasts and stuff like that I've done related to the book. Some episodes of Saturday Morning Fever in which we talk about it, and watch some Batman the Animated episodes of Snake Oil Podcast. And I very much recommend that you guys check those out. And hopefully this, I hope that this little Let's Play we're doing here will make you aware of some of the fun stuff we have for you guys to check out revolving the new book when it comes out. Releasing to several comic book stores across the state of Michigan and online at deadmaninc.com on April 15th. Now that I've got all that sales pitching out of the way, let's actually talk about what we're playing here. So, as you know, we are playing the Dark Knight pack. This one in particular, it's actually known as the Dark Knight Trilogy pack, but this particular episode we're playing here, obviously, is seeming to take a scene directly from the Dark Knight, with a couple of liberties in costumes and that kind of thing. This is actually one of there's not many, for mostly respect reasons, there isn't a great deal of licensing ever done with the Heath Ledger character, which is kind of strange, but also is unfortunately kind of the reality of things as well.
This again. I think Dent will plan for lower speed chases. Hang in there, my son. Batman's on his way.
Despite the way that certain people react to, the respect angle of those kind of situations, as far as like when an actor dies in the middle of a production, and that's, you know, debatably being used for various things as far as its marketing and stuff like that. It's always a tricky issue, and you know, people try their best to be aware of it. But at the same time, it's hard to ignore that there was quite a bit of controversy in this particular case with the kind of marketing that was used. Especially, like, the main one was Halloween costumes. I noticed there was a lot of Heath Ledger Halloween costumes. And then there's also a lot of people who were very skeptical of his winning of the Oscar that year for Best Supporting Actor. Which, to be fair, I mean, all respect to him. I loved his performance. And I think that was actually the first major acting credit ever given to a character playing a comic book character. And that deserves its own bit of respect in itself as well. However, I'll be the first to admit that I do have my problems frequently with the Dark Knight trilogy. My podcast co-host, Travis, I think he sums it up correctly when he says that the Dark Knight trilogy they're really good movies as long as you don't think about them. And because I think that, on one hand,
I don't know. What's Rachel thinking about this fella? Who am I to tell her? I've heard this guy can be a bit insincere. A bit, what's the expression? You know, too fit. Is that a bazooka? Go on, Master Bruce, get in there, son. Oh, Bruce, not another car. This dim character. I mean, with all due respect, he isn't a patch on Master Wayne. Underneath all that rubber and armor plate, Bruce is a very sensitive guy. Not a lot of people like that. Oh, Bruce, you were only supposed to blow the Lego doors off.
I do like the way that they kind of work with the commentary on that. Narration's
Gordon's
nice.
alive. It's just as well, because Batman needs some help to dig the Joker out of the rubble. Although most of the
Commissioner Gordon.
had to be improvised, Bruce felt confident that the exact parts he needed would be found conveniently close by.
See, I don't know if that's actually him doing it. Oh, he's got, like, detective senses. That's a nice touch. So yeah, I think that the biggest strength of the Dark Knight trilogy is actually also the biggest weakness, which is the fact that it was trying to be this avant-garde, more mature, quote-unquote, less comic booky comic book film, and because of that, it lent itself to abandoning a lot of the suspension of disbelief that comic books will award you, and it makes it so that there are moments in the story that are more comic booky, which I have no problem with, but because of the fact that the film seems so immediately ashamed to have those aspects in it, it immediately can cause a lot of problems.
But I do believe he was trying to tell Batman how he got his scarf. It's strange, because I don't remember him wearing it.
I love the sense of humor in this. I always love the cheeky kind of aspect that these films bring. That being said, because Christopher Nolan, obviously as many people know, is the guy that directed the Dark Knight trilogy, and there's some stuff he did in this is really nice, and some stuff that I kind of disagree with. Nolan in general is a very cold director, and I mean that in the sense that he doesn't really function a lot in the emotions of his films. Nolan is a director that very much loves the sweeping largeness of his movies and the technical aspects of and the crazy experimentation that he makes in his films. But his films can feel very heartless at times. His characters are never particularly emotionally warm or very, very open to, like larger senses of humor or like actually more enjoyable aspects like that. More often than not, as a director even, he's accused of more of the Batmanish brooding kind of personality traits, which for this series, I can see why some people thought that might be the direction to go, but I tend to disagree myself. I just don't find that Batman needed to be even darker and even more brooding and so on and so forth. I felt that was just something his character didn't.
As Batman continued to build, the Joker asked him, "Why so serious?" To which Bruce replied, "I'm Batman. I'm always serious." I don't think that fully answered his question.
So, see, I just don't think that was the direction that the series needed to take. Because unfortunately, it created what's known as the Nolan effect for many people, where, I mean, it's cool that, that Batman got a more of a serious take, which is exactly what people were looking at after Schumacher kind of took it too far in the comical direction. But at the same point, it got to the point where people, that's funny, people were mistaking the idea of being dark with actually being serious. Like, it's almost cartoonishly dark at some points, and it makes it so any time in the series that Batman actually does have a sense of humor, or it kind of needs to rely on because it's a comic book kind of excuses, it falls short on that end because of the fact that it is so difficult for it to back away from this ultra serious, everything is real aspect that the movies have built for it. And I harp on that a lot, but that is actually a larger point of these movies. But there is also a lot of good things that these movies did. For instance, I love the...
He was wearing a nurse's uniform. He babbled something about fan service, which, to tell you the truth, still puzzles me somewhat.
Is a rapid button press thing, or what's going on here? Oh, this is a rapid button press. It's a fast button press. Anyway, so the color theory, what I mean by that is, well, not really a theory, it's actually concluded, is that if you pay attention to the 3 individual Dark Knight trilogy films, Nolan actually went to the trouble of giving each one a symbolic color that plays all the way through the film. In Batman Begins, it's orange.
As could be expected.
In
Gordon's made commissioner. Joker's in prison.
Dark Knight, it's blue, and it's white in
Joker.
Rises.
He was a tough nut. I have to say, of all the people in lipstick Bruce has been up against, he was definitely the hardest. Now I've got to get back and put the tea on. Master Wayne will be starving after all that. Well, I don't know. He can defuse a thermonuclear warhead, but can't grill his own fish fingers. Or pick his socks up off the bedroom floor, for that matter.
Yeah, these are actually shorter than I thought they'd be. I'm not going to say I'm not disappointed at that, especially from a Let's Play perspective. I feel like I need to say more. I will say I prefer the Burton films in general to the Nolan films, especially because I feel that just because of the controversy that surrounded Ledger's death, that Dark Knight was put on a pedestal for a long, long time. And it's going to be interesting to see how people react to the idea of finally getting it's going to be interesting to see how people react to the idea of... Ooh, we got Ra's al Ghul. Ooh, look at that sword. People, it's interesting to see how they're going to react to the idea of having Jared Leto be the first live-action Joker to come out since Heath Ledger. And actually, not a few people forget about this. There actually is a Batman Begins video game, and I might actually be doing a Let's Play of it, at least one episode of it, linking up to the release of this book. So you'll get a chance to hear more of my thoughts on Dark Knight when we get to that episode. But I will say, Batman Begins, I still think, warts and all, is, I think, the best of the trilogy. I think it has the best story, but not as good of an execution, while Dark Knight doesn't have as strong of a story, but has better execution. I do think that, like a lot of people, that Scarecrow was kind of wasted. Although, man, Liam Neeson is a Batman villain. You really can't top that. And that aspect I thought was really awesome. And we're only at 16 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and just jump into the next Season Pass episode. So, next up, we're going to jump into the, where is it? The Man of Steel episode. Yeah, let's get into some real controversy up in this.
Krypton, once a great planet, now stands on the brink of destruction. I, Maximus, Jor-El,
Oh my
must try
god.
to save my son Cal by sending him off
That
planet
joke.
with all our civilization's genetic knowledge hidden in his tiny baby pants. If I can get home and put him inside our last pod, he'll be safe. As long as we put enough milk in with him, that should do the trick. It can't fail. General Zod. He wants to take over the planet, which is falling to bits. What a loon.
These are nice vignettes.
A trusty space dragon. Senseless waste. Caelix, you Drongo, help me get inside.
See, why can't I play the mission before when I had the space
I return
dragon?
to find my home, besieged by General Zod and his fighters. I can't stand uninvited house guests.
Kneel before Zod! Alright, let's get moving talking about a little bit of this. So,
complex that only a machine like Caelix could possibly ever solve it. I hope Lara and Cal were still safe inside.
So Man of Steel was a really divisive film for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And I have to say, I actually myself was a fan. I think it's definitely got its problems, but I don't think it is this giant travesty that people make it out to be. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder's directing style. You know, the guy that directed Man of Steel, he's also the director of 300 and Watchmen and
Zod had no idea of my true
Sucker
plans.
Punch to a lesser extent for a lot of
He seemed
people,
determined
although I
to
might
stop me at
disagree.
all
But
costs. In some ways, you'll have to admire his persistence.
unfortunately, I think it's because of the large size of the project that so much of things fell apart. And definitely you could tell there's a lot of disputes between the writer and the director of the film, David Goyer. I'm kind of disappointed he's going on because Snyder openly said that he thought that Goyer's script sucked, which it did. But there really wasn't much he could do about it on a film that size. Even as the director, you'd be amazed at sometimes how little power you can still have.
Another fiery explosion.
And that's a big
More
shame
Zod's
because
men
from a
trying to
visual
hunt me
perspective, it was an amazing film, and people forget about that. I'm not even just saying that to say the film looks pretty. I'm saying that to say that the way the film was directed, visually speaking, was actually something to something that needs to be praised. You know, even just the fight scenes, but just the way that they were able to make Krypton look, or the way that they were able to make, you know, flight feel like such an earned thing, like visually speaking. Like flight is where they could, you know, the way that his power, the way the power structures work, or like the way it looks when they hit people. There's so many aspects of the film that I think that are done right that people forget about, that people don't seem to want to focus on.
I can get young Cal in the escape pod. I think he might need changing first, though. Zod again? Hasn't he got better things to do? Get a decent haircut? Or not the cradle? Took Lara and I ages to put that together. Sweetheart, can you remember where we put the instructions for that? Such damage. I had once considered naming my child Zod. Lara argued that we should call him Neil before we both settled for Cal. I definitely choose Neil before Zod now.
Oh my god, the puns. Oh, the puns are unbearable, but I love them so. Oh, I can't shoot anything because I'm holding the baby. That's adorable. Is Adam West doing a jig in there? That is awesome. That is worthy of praise.
I'd heard of rocking the cradle, but this was ridiculous. Repairing it would be vital, and our plan was to succeed. Bora, one of Zod's most loyal henchmen, and a formidable combatant. Shame he smelled worse than a Rondor beast.
So, especially with, like, I'm excited at the amount of potential that the series still leaves, though, moving forward into Dark Knight, into Dawn of Vengeance,
So tough.
Dawn of Justice. It's a shame that it's still so far out until we're actually going to see that movie, and a lot of the speculation as far as like how big the Justice League aspect is going to be in the film are so up in the air. But like, I'm excited at the idea of seeing a completely new take on Lex Luthor. I'm excited about the fact that Ben Affleck as Batman, I think, is actually going to be a really interesting feat. And like, we've never seen Batman and Superman in live action before, and I know that watching all the animated versions, that relationship can really work and it can actually be something fantastic. But I'm hoping that with Nolan out of the picture now, that there'll be less of a desire for this film from the studio to immediately just be, you know, the Superman equivalent of Dark Knight, which for the main point, that's what, no, go to, oh, switch to, there we go. Oh, I gotta put the baby in the cradle. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
Goodbye, my son. Remember to write. No, wait. Never mind.
Does anyone have the post station for... Now, this is actually kind of a dark joke. There's like, oh wait, never mind. We're all going to die. What a shame. See, I do like the way that they used Zod and
General
his
Zod arrived at last. I couldn't let him stop our mission.
They use Zod's rebellion as a kicking off point for the whole thing. I've seen the destruction of Krypton happen a couple different ways, but in general, usually it comes down to the idea of Jor-El being aware of it, but everyone else ignoring him for one reason or another. And I like the idea with this one where, like, before the main council can even consider it, that that, you know, before the council can even consider it, that he's already he's already launched his giant mutiny, and there's like nothing they really can do about it, all things considered. In the Superman animated series, they actually did it where it was because Brainiac had triggered the whole thing because Kryptonians were inferior to technology and therefore didn't deserve to live. I just shot my wife. My recently pregnant wife. I'm such a character of the year here, people. Anyway, the thing that actually I'm surprised about, I want to re-explore soon on a podcast level. I might be starting something to try this. It's like a lot of people, because of all the flack that happened with this film, a lot of people forget about Superman Returns. And the interesting thing about Superman Returns, like, this happened Superman Returns came out before House of Cards and all that other crazy stuff happened. Watching House of Cards now and then thinking of Superman Returns is so crazy to think that, like, you watch Frank Underwood in that show and how amazing he is and be like, hey, that guy played Lex Luthor way back. And, you know, as much as I think that Eisenberg will do a good job, it's like, man, can you imagine, like, Kevin Spacey getting a crack at it once again? My goodness, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, Superman Returns weren't perfect. And Super Baby was stupid. It really was. But it had some good stuff going for it. I mean, and so did Man of Steel. It wasn't perfect, but I think that unfortunately, so much of it came down to the writing, as I mentioned before. Even the most important scenes in the movie, I think, in general, come down to crappy writing on a couple points. Like, especially the main controversial scene. Why doesn't he just die? The main controversial scene in the movie when they're talking about the bus, and he says, well, should I have just left him there? And he says, I don't know. Meaning he says, maybe. Like, should I have just let him die? And he says, maybe. And the thing that sucks so much about that scene is that, like, one line different, and it would change everything. Because what he's trying to say, even if he says maybe, is that he doesn't have the answers for all these questions, and it's going to be up to Clark to find those answers. If you would have just changed that line from maybe to I don't know, the entire meaning of that question completely changes from the ground up. Why doesn't Zod die? This is actually getting kind of confusing a little bit, like... There we go. You know, there's so many scenes in the movie that if you changed it by one line like that, it would just redefine the entire picture. And it bugs me that that's not done better.
Hologram doohickeys in the pod to teach you how to do stuff. And there's some holiday snaps from that trip to Kandor we took. Wherever you end up, make sure you wear plenty of sunscreen. And try not to lose the genetic codex I've hidden in your DNA.
And once again, you count on this series of having that good old sense of humor about its source material. It's another S that stands for hope. It's actually the crest of the House of L. So I don't know how you want to define that and how that stretches out entirely from there. So we're actually going to call the thing here for now. Not because I'm completely done playing, or that I'd like to be done playing, but for one, 30 minutes is actually going to be a really nice ending time. And two, that wearing these underneath has hurt my ears so badly that I absolutely need to find a new rig for this. But we still have a couple more pieces to the Batman season pass that we're going to be playing through probably tomorrow. And we'll hopefully have the stuff loaded. Feel free to follow us on our content at deadmaninc.com. Please like, subscribe, and share, and all that fun stuff. And check out some of the links below for some information about the Man Who Watches Batman releasing to the Dead Man Inc. site and hopefully to stores this year on April 15th. Until next time, my name is Ken Johnson from Dead Man Inc. Productions, signing out.